Salve moçada, aqui é o Moraes, bem-vindos ao meu canal de jogatinas. Hoje dando continuidade ao game Vampyr. Continuando aqui de onde eu parei a última jogatina. Finalizei ali o que seria, eu acho que era um chefe já, né, ou subchefe, sei lá. Dá pra saqueá-lo. Antes de saqueá-lo, eu vou ver o que dá pra pegar aqui, porque eu vi que tinha umas coisas pra eu pegar. Bastante chumbo, fragmento de alumínio. Game dado de grátis na PSN Plus desse mês, de outubro.
It's locked.
Não consigo voltar.
I cannot enter.
Tá trancado deste lado. Defesa. Um gamezinho que eu até tô achando legal. Não tem aquele, nossa, que gráfico. Mas está divertido. Não consigo ir lá pra cima. A escada tá quebrada. Eu acho que não tem mais nada aqui. Vamos saquear o nosso vampiro aqui.
This poor creature can't be my maker.
Amostra de sangue
Could
de
it be
William
some
Bishop.
subspecies of vampire? I must find a place to analyze the blood.
Entre no barco. Rose, entra no barco. Vai entrar? Vai entrar. Remada ao amanhecer. Troféu conquistado. Eu não sei porque não aparece no YouTube os troféuzinhos conquistados. Isso é troféufobia, cara. Não deixa aparecer os troféus que tu ganha no jogo.
Where are we headed?
We're on our way to the Pembroke Hospital. It's just across the canal. They'll have a bed for poor Mr. Hampton.
William was... What manner of creature was he?
Predator, prey, villain and victim. Who can say?
Um game com um gráfico bem de PS3.
Duly noted. And the woman? What... Who is she?
What woman?
Oh, don't play me for a fool. You used me to locate that skull. You must know who she is.
I thought you a gentleman. You shouldn't talk about a lady behind her back, but I will tell you she values her privacy. For London as peaceful as she appears from the middle of the canal. If only that were the reality of the situation.
To be honest, I've always tried to avoid this part of town.
Pembroke Hospital is the last bastion between the rest of London and the epidemic. The flu has decimated the East End and the war still rages. Welcome to the front lines of a plague.
This is where you work, Dr. Swansea?
I am the administrator of Pembroke Hospital.
I thought you were here in service of your mysterious order, the Brotherhood of...
Of St. Paul's Stole, yes. But first and foremost, I'm a man of science. A physician, like yourself, Dr. Reed.
How do you know who I am?
No need for modesty. You are Dr. Jonathan Reed, a surgeon of some caliber and renown, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct, sir.
I knew it! I had my suspicions. But when you took the blood sample from the corpse of poor William, I was certain. Dr. Reed. Marvelous.
Have we met?
I attended 3 of your seminars before the war. I have the utmost admiration for your research. And what a turn of fate. England's most esteemed blood specialist returns to London a vampire.
That word, again, from a so-called man of science.
I understand. Traditionally, the role of science is to refute myth, but when myth walks among us, The Brotherhood of St. Paul has dedicated its purpose to their study. There's so much for you to learn.
Of that, you are right.
Well, then let me be blunt. Join my staff at Pembroke Hospital. As a physician. I suspect you'll not find a better post of employment to contemplate your predicament.
This is sudden. I was returning home to see my sickly mother. But alas, that was before contracting this affliction.
Dr. Reed, take a moment to consider. The post would be for the night shift, providing a good explanation for your absence during daylight hours. You'll be adequately reimbursed, and have a place to hide. I even had the forethought to bring some clean clothes. So, what do you say?
It seems I have little choice, but yours is a generous offer, so I thank you.
Brilliant! Oh, Jonathan, this is one for the book, and the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Dr. Swansea, thank goodness. I was beginning to be concerned.
Worry no more, Nurse Crane, for I bring good news.
Oh, Doctor, what a night. We lost 2 more patients. Nurse Scow said she couldn't take it anymore and resigned.
Yes, well, I'll make a new rota in the morning. In the meantime, find a good bed for Mr. Hampton. Be sure to pay attention to his needs.
Of course, Doctor.
Oh, and Dorothy,
Yes, Doctor?
Dr. Reed here has just returned from the front. He served King and Country and will be joining us here at Pembroke. We're very lucky to have gained a surgeon of his talent, and one so experienced in blood transfusions.
That is good news indeed,
É,
Doctor.
transfusão sanguínea.
Yes. Here at Pembroke, it's not what we have, but what we haven't. It's only thanks to Nurse Crane and the staff that our ship doesn't sink. If you have any questions, just ask her.
Duly noted. Thank you.
Your assistance is required, Dr. Swansea, immediately.
Welcome aboard, Jonathan. We'll catch up after my rounds. Coming, Nurse Crane. I'm coming.
E bora lá. Levem para um hospital. Analise o sangue de Wilson Bishop no hospital.
It's locked.
Preciso chegar até onde? Até o hospital. Entre no hospital Pembroke. Seja eterno. Missão concluída, que tudo concluído. Opa, converse com os moradores. Ah, ficou faltando conversa com os moradores. Ah, ué. Estranho. Bom, foi o que ficou faltando. Tem uma arma diferente aqui. Tacape usado. Dano 65. Dano 45. Dano 99. Nenhuma investigação. Deixa eu dar uma olhada aqui. Provavelmente não vou conseguir entrar. Opa, tem uma treta aqui.
Rotten or pristine, each heart contains the source of life. Drink at this river, try it all.
Oh, come on, you bastard! I won't bite.
Sir, please. You've lost too much blood. Calm yourself.
You think I didn't notice? Stop your staring and get me to an hospital, you arse!
Seja mais educado, deixarei você sangrar, vou matar você.
Insulting a good Samaritan. Not exactly the way to get rescued.
Alright, sorry. I am in pain here. My guts are spilling out onto the street and you're yabbering on.
Yes. That's a very nasty wound you've got there. Take my word, I am a doctor. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Name's Clay Cox. I'd appreciate you helping me to a better place, Doc.
Follow me, Mr. Cox. Let me assist you to that better place.
Qualidade do sangue. Qualidade do sangue indica quando espera. Maior qualidade de sangue, mais espera. Enfeitiçar.
Bring this fading light into the shadows. Dance with him the dance of life and death.
Tentação do sangue. Aperte para abraçar. Bolinha para libertá-lo. Consequências. Aprender mais sobre os cidadãos e coletar as pistas de aumenta o ganho de experiência. Eu acho que é nisso que o jogo tem dois finais.
In the back, you bastard! Didn't have the guts to fight me. Fuck
Eu acho que é tu enfeitiçar todo mundo. Troféu conquistado. Só uma mordidinha. Ou então não morder ninguém. Eu acho que é nisso que muda o final do jogo, eu acho. Mais duas molas. Então isso eles estão me esperando lá. Componente comum e minúsculo de empunhadura.
To taste a life, to embrace its most intimate secrets. Such a burden, such a divine sin.
Pó de alumínio. Tem mais alguém ali. O jogo é quase um mundo aberto, cara, tem bastante coisa pra tu olhar. É obrigatória a utilização de máscaras para prevenir que a infecção se alastre. Ué? Até no jogo estão usando máscara. Tem mais um ali, ó. Ô, cacete! Eu vou me atacar. Ih, morri. Carregamento é que demora. Tá, deixa eu ver o que tem aqui. Lá tinha 2 ou 3 armados, cara. Aí foi foda. Corre.
I cannot enter.
Porta está trancada. Eu vim daqui, né? Eu vim daqui. Deixa eu ver o que tem pra cá. Uma área bem grande para se olhar mesmo. É o hospital aqui? É o hospital.
It's locked. Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody.
Tem um negócio aqui. Influenza. No game também estão com gripe. Aqui não, tem até um aviso aqui. Opa, tem mais um folhetinho aqui. Quarentena, doença contagiosa. Tá, teve um gritinho pra cá, deixa eu dar uma olhada.
I cannot enter. It's locked.
Tem muitas portas trancadas, cara. E tem alguma coisa ali. Oh, caramba! filho da mãe. Ali tem uma porta, mas não sei como chegar ali.
I cannot enter.
Porta trancada.
It's locked, all right.
Descanse para evoluir. Controle de praga. Acho que é Gorda 10 ratos, eu acho.
It's locked.
Aqui não é um lugar para descansar. Tá fechado.
It's locked, all right.
I said stay away, sir.
Acertou?
I cannot enter.
São sempre os mesmos avisos de quarentena. Queria achar um local para descansar. Era para ser ali em cima, mas não sei por que não estou abrindo a porta. Não se abaixa, né, cara? Poderia... Os dois ali estão armados. Acabei voltando pro começo. Então vamos lá. Levar o cara até o hospital. Tem um perdido aqui. Ih. Ah, caramba. Opa. Oh, pegou de novo. Ah, tá que pariu. Esse aqui é forte, hein? A câmera às vezes atrapalha um pouco o combate. Tá, eu tava indo em direção ao hospital, né? Queria marcar um... Ah, de novo, cara. Ah, vai pegar. Eu tô com machado? Não sei de onde é que veio esse machado, mas tudo bem. Porra, filho, tá difícil, hein?
It's locked.
É, tem que usar máscara. Então, deixa eu voltar por aqui. Ué? Tem um carregamento ali.
It's locked. It's locked, all right. Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially when he was supposedly dead.
A colleague. Are you a doctor too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue.
What do you mean, you used to be a doctor? Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be a real doctor.
Please show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful.
Codeína. Codeína é um potente analgésico frequentemente usado para aliviar dor e tosse. Ópio. Uma forma enigmática. moedas, quer dizer, 70 moedas, 15 e 15. Vou comprar isso aqui. Vou comprar isso aqui. Vou comprar isso aqui também. Não comprei? Vareta de chumbo, pó de alumínio, parafuso. Carta amassada. Nova pista disponível.
I'm sorry you ended up on my plane.
I cannot enter.
I
Tem
understand
umas
you must
coisas
be
ali
very
também.
angry about this unfair situation.
Não consigo entrar.
We arranged to have you buried in the same mass grave as your wife. I hope.
Tá, vou voltar lá onde que tá o nosso camarada do barco.
I'm not one to make wait, Doctor. I've patients to attend. Doctor, where have you been? I've little time to play hide and seek with new staff members, no matter how illustrious they may be.
I apologize, nurse. I needed some time to myself. This has been the longest and strangest night of my life.
You delivered poor Mr. Hampton from a terrible fate. The means to that end should be of little concern, Doctor.
Thank you, nurse. What can I do for you?
Dr. Swansea insisted we provide you a quiet office. You'll find it on the second floor with your name on the door.
Thank you. Nurse Crane, isn't it?
Yes, Dorothy Crane. Welcome to Pembroke Hospital, Dr. Reed. Your office has been prepared.
I would like to ask a few questions first. And Mr. Hampton, the patient we brought in, how does he fare?
I gave him a sedative to help him sleep. Poor thing was in quite a state of shock.
What kind of man is Dr. Swansea?
Well, you accepted the job from him. I thought you would have known about your employer.
It's right to assume Dr. Swansea knows far more about me than I do about him.
You'll get to know him soon enough, and better than me. The administrator has better things to do than mix with us.
Apologies, I've only just met him the once. This is sudden. I've only just returned to England.
Dr. Swansea is a brilliant surgeon and the most compassionate physician.
If you could point me in the direction of my room again, nurse.
Second floor of the hospital, left after the stairs. It's the last vacant office at the end of the corridor.
Thank you, Nurse Crane. Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced yet. My name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking havoc amongst the staff and patients. We are running out of everything.
You must get a hold of yourself, nurse.
Sorry, I'm exhausted. No one has any idea when this epidemic will be over.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse? What if in the end, nobody was spared?
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual. Especially concerning doctors.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Mas tinha um outro cara aqui com ela, foi embora. Aqui é onde eu tava.
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, the new surgeon here at the Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance. Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before, at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett. Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm new here.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed. I'm Milton Hooks, the ambulance driver for this shithole of a hospital.
That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hooks.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reed. Perk of the job. Don't judge me, and I won't judge you.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during the war, and have carried one ever since. Old habits die hard.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need a better gun, remember, I may have something for you.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Até ia comprar essa aqui, mas tô com 41 moedinhas só. Cartucho de espingarda. Espingarda do Milton. Componente comum de gatilho. Pó de alumínio. Graxa, fragmento de alumínio, parafuso. Queria vender algumas coisas pra ele, eu acho, né? Pó de alumínio. Vender mais de um, vender. Mola, tem 4 molas. Tem só uma desse aqui. Parafuso vale 2 moedas. E esse relógio. E nesse mini perfume.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Vai 315. Não deixa quieto. Quando a gente vê por aí, eu compro alguma coisa. Deixa eu ver o que tem pra cá. Preciso de um lugar para descansar, cara. Acho que tem que ser lá no meu escritório.
If Pembroke is still standing after this epidemic, there's good reason to be proud.
Good evening, Dr. Tibbets.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Goodbye, Dr. Tibbets. Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Goodbye, Nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Perhaps I should have considered the offer from that Cadogan fellow.
Dr. Swansea is right. This place seems perfect to conduct my research.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins. Good evening, Doctor. I believe we're going to be working together.
Dr. Reed. Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival, but I could not dare to believe we'd have such good fortune. Such an honor, sir.
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
I'm so tired.
Will this shift never end?
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
Reads me like a book. Never could keep anything from her.
Aí eu peguei uma pista e eu não sei o que fazer com ela. Esconderijo, aqui não tem nenhum esconderijo também.
I wish I could be sick. Feel my blood boil with the fever.
Damn. The pain. It's there again.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon?
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft? I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require? Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were before becoming a vampire.
No, such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's minds, you see?
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I'm assuming you must be a patient here. Am I right, Miss Howard?
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
Who are these enemies you mentioned? Can you describe them?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden near the morgue.
The staff here are not your enemy. They're here to help you, to care for you.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire.
I see. Don't worry. These people will not find you here. I'll personally make sure they leave you alone.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
Uma nova verificação de cidadão está disponível. Aperte. Clique para abrir o menu de verificação local. Verificação dos cidadãos.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities. Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head surgeon here. War injuries, am I right?
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
How close are you to Miss Horcroft? Are you aware that she thinks she is a vampire?
To wait for her next nibble is the best reason to stay here. Every time she approaches my bed, she treats me like something tasty. A normal person.
Aren't you afraid? She may hurt you if the game goes too far.
She's quite harmless, I can assure you. Her head's broken inside is all. While I'm busted on the outside. But she's still beautiful. Living proof that there's hope for me.
Nova pista disponível. Detalhes.
So do you let her bite you? You know that's not sanitary.
And why not? She's only supping a few drops of me blood. And the pain, it's real for once.
She could decide to bite less willing patients.
Then it's another good reason for me to stay here, Doctor.
You do realize she's mentally disturbed. It's called the Cotard syndrome. She truly believes she's a vampire.
In her madness, she never refers to my scars. And frankly, if I could, I'd join her world. It seems much more fun than the real one.
Where were you stationed, sir? Did you serve for long?
I really don't want to talk about all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much. I served in France myself. I just wanted to know what happened to you.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought the same war, sir. No offense. So this is how it ends. Farewell, my life, you betrayed me, good.
O distrito sofrerá consequências das suas ações. E a outra maluca tá aqui ainda?
Good evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
Tell me, Thelma, why do you feel so attached to Mr. Elwood? Why him?
I'm not sure, Doctor. I think we have a bond of some sort. We've both suffered so much. He's the only mortal I find interesting.
Do you plan to make him a vampire too?
Of course not. How could I inflict my curse on anybody else? I'm not that cruel, Doctor.
Would you say you and Mr. Elwood are romantically involved?
No. No, Thomas is a delicate soul. Even though he disguises it. But I am not the woman he needs. No, for I am a vampire, Doctor.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
Time has lost its effect on me, but the suffering continues.
Good evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich,
Pra ver
vibrant
se liberou
blood.
alguma coisa agora. Acho que eu peguei a carta ali. Não, liberou nada.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
Então deixa eu ficar quietinho aí então, minha amiga. Deixa eu ir atrás de outra pessoa. Tem um cara aqui.
Good evening, Mr. Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it?
Ah, é o padre.
Sir, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious, perhaps. But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest. And then I can go back to the people who need me.
Have you made friends since you arrived?
Not really, but I recognize Miss Harriet Jones. I knew her when she lived by the docks. That poor woman had such a miserable life.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke. Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks. And I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle? I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place and he refused to let me go.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Hawcroft.
You dared to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the dockers' trade union. The wet boot boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Booth Digby.
Has the gang been threatening you?
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton. We'll talk again later.
I wish I could be sick again. Feel my blood boil with the fever.
Later. I'm busy right now.
This must be the place. It's definitely away from prying eyes. Relegated to the shadows. A kingdom of my own. At least I won't be sleeping in a coffin. The flower's dying. It needs water.
Bom, isso aí, moçada, essa jogatina vai ficando por aqui. Até a próxima. Valeu, falou, abraço. E até.